A couple of guys were pushing an old Volkswagen down the street. Lisa pushed Amy into the pool. She tried to push him away. Can you push harder? It's not moving. Push the green button to start the engine. Heather pushed past us without speaking. People were trying to push their way to the front. The agency is pushing to increase U.S. exports. Concerned citizens are pushing for stricter gun controls. My parents pushed me into going to college. Royce has been pushing himself too much lately. Coach Keppel pushes his players pretty hard. New medical technology has pushed the cost of health care up. The recession has pushed stock market prices down. I want to ask my boss for another day off, but I don't want to push my luck. The airport is pushing ahead with its program to expand. Don't let your boss push you around. The others stopped for a rest, but I pushed on to the top of the mountain. Even with disagreement growing, they decided to push on with the negotiations. The governor pushed through a measure to increase the state sales tax. Just give the door a push if it's stuck. Eastern Europe then started a push to modernize their economies. A push for longer prison terms. If push comes to shove, I can always rent out the house.
It's still stuck. You'll have to push harder. Her father was pushing the wheelchair.
Help me push the car into the garage.
She pushed him out the door.
I slowly pushed the door open.
The horse pushed against the fence.
Push the green button to turn on the machine.
Stop pushing and wait your turn.
Furiously, she pushed past him.
Sandra and I had to push our way to the front of the bus.
My boss keeps pushing me to work more overtime. I think she pushed Derek into marrying her. Coach Kane pushes his players pretty hard. You have to push yourself if you want to be a professional dancer.
He felt he had pushed his body to the limit.
I got tired of Robin pushing her environmental agenda at the office. We don't try to push our religion on anyone.
He was pushing hard for welfare reform. Animal rights groups are pushing to ban the capture of dolphins.
He pushed his hands into his pocket.
Inflation has pushed up prices by 35%.
New technology has pushed the cost of health care even higher. It was a decision which pushed the country into war.
Had she pushed him too far this time? We need new ways to push our products.
Sheila must be pushing 40 by now. He really knows how to push Dad's buttons.
You'll be pushing it if you ask for more money. The country will push ahead with reforms.
You shouldn't let people push you around like that.
Some of the bigger boys are pushing the little kids around. He had to push aside his personal feelings and finish the job.
I didn't realize I was gradually pushing my friends away.
The deadline has been pushed back.
New ideas are needed to push the peace process forward.
The troops continued to push forward.
We don't try to push our religion on anybody.
Hungry and exhausted, the backpackers pushed on.
The dog had pushed over a lamp.
The parties determined to push through the bill.
If the door is stuck, just give it a push.
A major diplomatic push.
The club has begun a push to attract new members.
The push for improved productivity will affect everyone in the office.
She just needed a little push to get her started. The Army has made another big push into enemy territory.
If push comes to shove, you can always ask your dad for help.
Files can be attached to your email with the push of a button.
It didn't move, so she pushed harder.
I promised to push him on the swings for as long as he wanted.
Shoppers pushing their grocery carts.
She pushed him away.
Maria pushed her hair back from her forehead.
Philip pushed him towards the door.
I slowly pushed the door open.
I got in and pushed the button for the 4th floor. Push the green button to start the engine.
Don't push, everyone will get a turn.
A fat man pushed past me in his rush to leave.
She pushed her way to the front.
Encourage your kids to try new things, but try not to push them too hard.
Athletes who push their bodies to the limit.
He's been pushing himself too hard, working 12-hour days.
My husband pushed me into leaving the job.
The teachers pushed the students to achieve.
The president is trying to push his agenda in Congress.
He was pushing hard for welfare reform.
Company representatives are pushing to open foreign markets to their products.
We don't try to push our religion on anyone.
The law would push even more children into poverty. Attempts to push the peace process forward.
Slow sales have pushed down orders.
New technology has pushed the cost of healthcare even higher.
The army was pushing north.
We pushed deep into enemy territory.
Sports stars earn big bucks for pushing everything from shoes to soft drinks.
If she doesn't want to go, don't push it.
It's 26 miles, so you're pushing your luck if you try to hike it in a day.
He pushed the thought out of his mind and tried to concentrate.
Movies shouldn't be afraid to push a few buttons.
Ideas that push the envelope of design and construction.
Quinlan decided to push ahead with the deal.
It's getting late. I think we should be pushing along. Europeans sometimes feel the Americans are trying to push them around.
She pushed aside her anger, forcing herself to focus on her work.
Primakov was pushed aside but later became head of intelligence. Dad pushed off and jumped into the rowboat.
We decided to push on a little further.
Nixon pushed on with the weapons development program.
He went wild, pushing over tables and chairs.
The planning application was pushed through as quickly as possible.
If the door's stuck, just give it a push.
Files can be attached to your email at the push of a button. The pre-Christmas advertising push.
The company has recently made a big push into the Japanese market.
The push for improved productivity. A push to attract new members.
The army has made another big push into enemy territory.
If push comes to shove, you can always sell the car.
She gave him a gentle push.
The car won't start. Can you give it a push? At the push of a button, he could get a whole list of names.
The firm has begun a major push into the European market. The push for reform started in 2007.
He wants to open his own business, but needs a push in the right direction to get him started. We can provide accommodation for 6 people at a push.
We pushed and pushed, but the piano wouldn't move.
Push hard when I tell you to. You push and I'll pull. She pushed at the door, but it wouldn't budge. He walked slowly up the hill, pushing his bike. She pushed the cup towards me. He pushed his chair back and stood up. He tried to kiss her, but she pushed him away. She pushed her face towards him. I pushed the door open.
People were pushing and shoving to get to the front.
The fans pushed against the barrier. Try and push your way through the crowd.
I pushed the button for the top floor. This development could push the country into recession.
The rise in interest rates will push prices up.
My teacher pushed me into entering the competition.
No one pushed you to take the job, did they?
The music teacher really pushes her pupils.
Lucy should push herself a little harder. Her parents are very tolerant, but sometimes she pushes them too far. The interview gave him a chance to push his latest movie. She didn't want to push the point any further at that moment. He is a performer who consistently pushes the envelope of TV comedy. You didn't get caught last time, but don't push your luck. I tried to push the thought to the back of my mind.
The government is pushing ahead with its electoral reforms.
He pushed aside the feelings of fear.
The company has tried to push back on the claim that it paid no taxes.
The start of the game was pushed back from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. The pressure group is pushing for a ban on GM foods. I'm going to have to push you for an answer. She had to push herself forward to get a promotion. Hey, what are you doing? Push off. We rested for a while and then pushed on to the next camp. Sam pushed me over in the playground. The government is pushing the changes through before the election.